Welcome everyone to our City Council meeting for Monday, July 27th. If we can have a roll call and call to order.
David Mitchell. Here. Terry McClung.
Here.
Mickey Schneider.
Here.
Bob Thomas.
Here.
Joyce Eller.
Here.
James DeVito.
Here.
We have 6.
Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, get a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Would like to defer our discussion of the ordinance on the bonds, 2008-2010. I guess actually I'd like to take that off the agenda for right now. We're going to be meeting with Michael Moyer, the bond guy, and I'm not sure when we're going to do that. So once we get him, I can put it back, leave it on there for next time.
Is this the same? Is this Bo's partner in crime?
Bo's partner, he's coming in. There's some issues about rates and things we've got to discuss before we get into that. So let's defer it for right now until the next meeting.
And you postponed number 3 too, it looks like?
Yes. All right. Mr. David?
Under new business can be added tram discussion we just had.
Second.
Point of clarification, could we postpone that for our budget workshop?
And workshop.
We're going to be setting the budget for next year. That's going to be part of our budget.
He wants to get started on that earlier, though.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we can go ahead and discuss it and get it started. Did we have a second?
Yes.
Okay. Madam Clerk?
The special meeting, 17 minutes, please, for approval of those minutes.
Oh, and
Where you see approval of the minutes, you already have July 13th, and I'm adding the special meeting minutes from July 17th.
Oh.
Wasn't on the agenda. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? We get a motion to approve the agenda as
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Everybody get a copy of the July 13th minutes. Get a motion to approve. Second.
Second.
Any discussions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, approval of the special meeting, which was
July 17th.
July 17th.
Yes.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. That brings us down to commissions. My understanding is that Ken Ketelsen is going to be renominated. His position expires on the CAPC. Expired, I guess, June 30th, so he's being renominated.
You haven't got the application yet, or does he have to refile, or?
I haven't
Oh,
got
no, that's different. That's not.
That's CAPC.
That comes to us, yeah. That'll probably be at our first meeting in next month, I would imagine. That's our business meeting. That's when we'll take care of that.
All right, we'll bring that up.
Yeah.
He's still going to attend until, my understanding.
But I think he continued to serve until replaced anyway.
Yes, correct. All right. That brings us down to public comments. You got a sign-up sheet and oh, Laura Coker.
Mr. Mayor, esteemed clerk and city council members, and public. I am developing the necessary case elements to petition the government in the courts for redress the unjustifiable infringement of religious rights, more properly termed the right of conscience. This primary liberty interest, that of legally autonomous decision capacity in the matter of health care, was removed by the fluoride mandate known as Act 197. That act accords the state improper authority to forcibly drug a select population directly over individual and city objection, as recorded twice by public vote in Eureka Springs. It removes the parental duty and authority of the parents in determining what drugs they want their children subjected to, and it fundamentally alters the consultative medical decision process between healthcare provider and client. It does so by bypassing all the protections of the court, normally provided on an individual basis, particularly in the matter of forced psychiatric drugging. It bypasses the principles and safety of the Arkansas Department of Health regulations, the water operators regulations that specify duty as singly or solely to treat the water to improve the quality of it. It makes our water operators complicit in distribution of a drug to which some object for safety and health concerns with fluoride. Most object to adding lead, arsenic, aluminum, and other harmful elements that accompany all foreign-sourced fluoride products. In establishing a reason for immediate injunction and to win the case, we must prove real harms. Eureka Springs owner and operators of restaurants and hostelries all become complicit in the distribution of that drug to which they object unless they provide bottled water and instruct guests that the city water contains such drug and chemical contaminants. That directly harms reputation and creates a form of double fee or taxation as an extraordinary cost if they object to acting as agents of the state in drug distribution. All hostelries are complicit as skin absorption is significant and filtration of sufficient bathing water is probative. Schools become agents of the state in drug administration, contrary to parental consent. That is a high breach of moral and ethical principle for the staff to incur. The state must prove a compelling interest, prevention of dental cavities, and must prove need, safety, and efficacy. Science does not support any of these, as the 2005 ADA fluoride fact sheet clearly details. They also must prove that no other means is available to achieve that compelling interest. This act stipulates only water service areas exceeding 5,000 persons as subject, so compelling interest cannot be proved. Arkansas can win this case on exercise of religious grounds. I intend to petition for redress the following government agencies: the courts, the medical board, EPA, CDC, FDA, that is criminally negligent in my analysis for refusing to label a non-approved drug for interstate transfer before Arkansas became subject to unwanted fluoride administration.
Thank you very much.
There's a
Appreciate
copy
it.
for your
Thank you, Larry.
consideration. I appreciate some feedback.
Thank you. That's all of our public comments. Next on our agenda is the Ordinance 2227, third reading, amending title on the peddler's ordinance, I believe.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
I guess that's where we start.
Yeah.
I'd move to suspend the rules and place ordinance number 2227 on its third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Still say it needs to be separated, and there's no rush on this. We have a workshop scheduled.
Any further discussion? Any roll call? Okay, roll call vote.
Mr. McClung?
Yes.
Ms. Eller?
No.
Mr. DeVito?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
No.
Ms. Schneider?
No.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
3-3.
I vote yes. Okay. Bring this, go ahead. Did you
Ordinance number 2227, an ordinance amending Title 4.48 subsections .01A and .01D of the Eureka Springs Municipal Code to clarify peddling.
Mr. DeVito?
Approve ordinance number 2227 on its third reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Yep.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Ms. Eller?
No.
Ms. Schneider?
No.
Mr. DeVito?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
No.
Mr. McClung?
Yes.
3-3,
Yes.
4-3.
All right, that brings us to our new business. Discussion of rezoning for Armstrong from R1 to
discuss.
C1.
Second?
Okay, any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
I asked Melissa from planning to come and explain to us why they did what they did.
Okay.
So if she could come up to the mic, please.
James?
Give us some background information.
So this, just for clarification purposes, you have not been empowered by the Planning Commission to come here representing the Planning Commission?
No, I was just asked to come. Beth called me earlier asking if I would come and clarify the action that the Planning Commission
Okay.
took.
Just want to get that straight.
I also have copies of the meeting minutes if
Can we just stick with can we stick with our speaker right now?
Can you shut that light off so
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
in her eye?
Yeah, shut the light off. James, can somebody shut the light off? On June 23rd,
Thank you.
the Smiths applied with planning for rezoning from R1 to C1. We unanimously denied it, mainly because we weren't against them having a business of that kind there, but because we felt that then there's absolutely no control, because when you have C1, you are open to any kind of other business when it is sold or transferred. And we were very amenable for her to reapply and come back and get a CUP for a bed and breakfast. And she assured us that there would be a manager on site. They have an apartment. So that was the action that we took.
Some other questions. This is up on Armstrong, right?
Yes, yes.
And the C1 comes up from here, up
Right,
behind. It's
right.
not part of the Armstrong Street.
No.
There's no commercial on actual Armstrong Street that's serviced by the road of Armstrong.
I believe on the other end, which would be the south end,
Hyper.
yeah, there is commercial on that end of Armstrong. But on this area of commercial, no, there's no
Do you
commercial.
remember the vote that planning had?
It was unanimously to deny it.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Ms. Snyder?
It wasn't up real high.
Okay.
Okay, so explain a little more clearly in regards to if this change was permitted, how would that affect that area?
Well, if it was rezoned to commercial, and let's say the applicant sold it, a bar could be put in there, a restaurant, they would have no parking requirements, no time requirements, I believe, or longer time requirements. So that's a neighborhood up there, so it would be effective to
So
the...
there would be no control over what kind of business could or would go in.
Right. Anything that is allowed in C1 would be allowed. And I think the neighbors were in agreement that they did not have a problem with the Smiths running a B&B up there. They just wanted a CUP so that it's not transferable.
Right, okay.
I have a question.
Oh, sure.
I didn't get through these minutes. What was the reason to rezone to C1?
She wanted to have a bed and breakfast there.
Tourist lodging.
Tourist lodging, but she realizes that there's no tourist lodging allowed in R1. So she would be willing to go for a bed and breakfast license and have a manager on site.
Okay, so what you're talking about then is a CUP?
Yes, yes.
Which would not transfer if she sold the bed and breakfast
Correct,
then?
correct. She would have to come back to planning and reapply for a CUP.
And what would, okay, so now why did I get this description of Victorian residential? Is that something you were
So you could know what the
considering?
conditional uses
Okay.
could be.
Oh, in the okay, and this is an R1
R1 zone.
Victorian district.
Correct.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
Okay, now
James?
I get it. Okay.
Mr. DeVito?
So there's no existing CUPs along the 200-foot
Yes,
frontage?
she would have to get a variance also.
So it's not as simple as just getting
No.
a CUP?
No, no. She would have to get a variance, 200-foot variance, and then again have a conditional use permit.
And the conditional use permit requires going out to, besides the variance from another bed and breakfast, you have to go to everybody that's within, 200 feet?
Right.
And they get the chance to
Yes,
get
she
into
will
it?
have to totally reapply again
Right.
and go through the whole process. I'm not sure how they handle the variances. I think it's the same. I think it's the same, and I think it could be done in the cloak of one application.
And that's why planning has this process set up, is to protect the integrity of residential
Yes,
neighborhoods.
yes, yes. And to give the residents the right to voice their opinion.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Any other questions? We have the applicant here. We got a question of the,
Am I allowed to, sometimes you have a certain number of minutes to speak to the issue?
it's up to the council. You want to hear?
I think
Sure, come on. Come over here. Here's our,
Well, she's got her.
oh, okay.
I'd like to show you a few pictures, if that's okay.
Okay.
I'll try and be brief. Do you want me to keep it to four minutes?
Just-
No, you're not restricted by that.
Yeah.
Who is she? That is
even
Elizabeth.
less than 4 days.
Oh, no, it's at the far end where Jerry Stamps used to live. It's by that stairway.
Jerry Stamps, Patty Somerville.
Okay, on Armstrong?
You know, the steps that go up straight across from New Delhi.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's to the north of those steps.
Okay, I just had it.
I'm so sorry that we don't have a better picture here, but this is number 4 Armstrong Street. It was built in 1883. It is the oldest tourist lodging on the street. It was built to be a tourist lodging. That's what it was used for. Jimmy, go ahead and go to the next screen. You can see an ad up here from 1911 when it was rented out for $1.75 a day. It was run as a B&B all through the 1980s, through the 1990s. The owner before me let the CUP go. She wanted it as her residence. These are some pictures of the inside of the house. It's got all original trim. It's got cypress trim. It's got stained glass. It's pretty lavish. It's pretty amazing. Again, pictures of stained glass, the patio, and more pictures. There's a studio apartment below. We have a wonderful young man living down there, Tommy O'Connell. He has agreed to be our property manager. There's a map here that I would like to go ahead and pass out to you so that you can see.
Let's take 3 across.
There you go.
Take one more for yourself, okay?
Oh, you do?
That's a little better.
In block 179, there are 6 pieces of property. 3 of those are zoned C1 right now, including one that has a B&B on it. You can see that across the street there are 2 bed and breakfasts owned by Farrell K. and D. Bright. Go ahead and scroll down, Jimmy. The house as it is not livable right now. The reason why it's not livable right now is because it is so very loud. It is louder in our bedroom than it is if you are sitting in the front row at the New Delhi because of the way that sound travels. There is actually a vacant building across the street because people can't live there either. Number 7 Armstrong is vacant. And in fact, on that property there are, Jimmy, how many does it say there on the screen?
20.
There are 20 properties on Armstrong Street, and only 3 of them are lived in by people as a residence. 20 buildings on Armstrong, only 3 of them are lived in as a residence by people. This is the Rada family. They rented from us for 3 years. They're a wonderful, successful family, but even they couldn't afford to pay the mortgage there. The mortgage there is $1,400 a month. We subsidized them for 3 years. We were glad to have them. They helped us. We helped them. But it is not a place that can be rented out as a monthly rental for a regular family to live in. It's not affordable. This is a picture of the parking. You can see that cars can be parked and there's easily a place for traffic to go. Again, you can see there's plenty of room for traffic on the road. This place needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of work, and it needs to pay for itself so it doesn't just implode. It needs gutter repair, tree maintenance, French drains, brick and stone repair, vine removal, roofing, painting, landscaping. It needs at least $30,000 to $40,000 put into it. It needs to pay for itself so it doesn't just crater in. I don't know if this is possible, but I'm asking you, if there is any way that I can be granted a CUP without having to go through 2 to 3 more months of reapplying. That makes a huge difference to me. It makes the difference to me of $15,000 to $20,000, and it would help this property tremendously. So that's what I'm requesting tonight. Thank you very much.
We are talking Jerry Stan's old house, right?
Yes.
He was the first person I met here 41 years ago. His house was the first house I spent tons of time in. It's beautiful inside.
It's
But it's
beautiful.
the exterior that's having this falling apart problem.
Well, an old property has all kinds of problems. Yeah, it's got lots of vines growing on it, which is one thing. Also, there's such a flow of water down the hill, and it just keeps getting stronger every year. And we need to put in some more French drains right away because there's starting to be some problems with the patio. There's starting to be some problems with the foundation. And I'd say that's the most important thing that we need to do most quickly is get French drains in to get that water moving in another direction. It needs roofing, it needs painting, it needs gutter maintenance.
I assume the kitchen still has the little sun thingy.
It has a heart.
No, that's right. I can't think of the word right now. The skylight.
Yes, there is. Yes, it does
Yeah.
have a skylight. Yes.
Yeah, that was back then. Is there any reason, Melissa, why things cannot be speeded up in regards to CUP? I don't remember the timing rules.
I think it's about a 3-week process.
I can't remember what kind of notification stuff has to go.
Well, if
expensive.
she applied tomorrow, I think we've got one more meeting. She probably could be by the second meeting, our second meeting, which would be the
If I have to do the mailings again, is that true?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't see anything around that.
So the original stuff would not be able to count.
I don't believe so. Would it, Butch? Okay, I don't believe
can't
so.
remember.
Yeah, but I think you could conceivably in 3 weeks be back on our agenda.
James?
Melissa, if for some reason a variance is not granted,
Right.
does the process come back to City Council if...
She has the right to appeal.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Mr. McClung?
Mr. Mayor, I don't think it's in our bailiwick at this time. It's I'm sorry, but it just has to go the gauntlet.
That's it.
Since she's not asking for a variance for commercial, and that was our agenda topic, her interest now is an expedited CUP, I would say that we refer it back to be dealt with. I'll make my motion.
Second.
Such.
Does that work?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
All right, any further
Does that
discussion?
work for you?
You know what, I appreciate it. Yes, that works for me.
I figure something's better than nothing.
Meet with
Abs-
Glenn
always.
tomorrow, and like I said, it could be on our second meeting next month, which is about 3 weeks.
Thank you.
Okay,
It could be tomorrow.
motion to defer this back or refer this back to the planning commission, motion and second. Any further discussion?
Second?
Terry, I think.
Oh.
Or somebody made a second, I don't remember.
David made a motion to send it back to planning.
Terry seconded it, I think. You got a comment?
Well, actually, I don't think that's what we do. I think that she has to reapply. So I don't think it's
Yeah.
sending it back because what she did was, this was on commercial, trying to get a zoning change, and she needs to reapply for a CUP.
Well, that's what I said. That's what I had said. That since she wasn't asking for what we have on the agenda.
We don't refer it back to
Yeah.
the planning.
We-
She makes application and then
There-
the planning will
we-
follow through with it.
I think what Terry's saying is we don't need to do anything, she just needs to
Do we
go ahead.
vote to not take action?
We can vote,
Well, I'll just withdraw the motion. That puts an end to it.
and that's fine, that's
Right
the
on.
end of it. Yeah,
You withdrew your second?
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
If this was characterized as an appeal, you really need to take a vote to not take an action.
Okay, so we do need a vote because this was an appeal of the planning commission, I'm told from the city council. So we can,
Motion to
Deny.
vote.
motion to deny the appeal.
But she didn't ask for the appeal. When she came in here, she just stood for us and asked for a CUP. She didn't ask for what's on the agenda.
You still need to make a motion to clean up your agenda item.
Okay, to take no action.
I make a
Well,
motion that we
to
take
deny.
no action on
Well,
on
I'll
the
second
agenda
that.
item.
All right,
Whatever.
we've got a motion to take no action on this item. Any further discussion?
Any second?
Yes, David seconded.
Thank you.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. All right. Thank you all.
Pictures. Nice house.
You should see that you would die.
Now then, we're going to have a discussion of the tram.
Move to discuss.
Not cemetery commission?
Yeah, cemetery.
Oh, Cemetery Commission, I'm sorry, you're right.
No.
The reason I brought this up, and I had second thoughts about it too, about deferring this, was we still have a vacancy on the Cemetery Commission. And I meant to make a note of this when we were doing the commission reports. I guess I need a motion to discuss, first of all.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. We really only have 4 people on the Cemetery Commission. And June Westfall is one of the 4. June is our elder spokesman, you might say. But we don't have a lot of people really active on here. We've come up recently with some things that needed to be done. Although this is, and again, I'm waiting. I don't know whether we can even get another person to fill the vacancy that we have. And if we did have that somebody to apply, and I'm hoping the people out in TV land, if they're interested, this is an important part of our city. It's our cemetery. This is for our maintenance and a lot of issues that are going on out there. And so what I'd like to do, hopefully, is get somebody who's interested, and if we have a lot of people, or get more than one, it's to bring it back up to the council to see about expanding our commission. Because then we really only have, even with June, then we've got a 5-member commission, and that's not a lot. It's basically like a lot of committees and commissions in Eureka Springs, those 5 members are also the people who do all the work. So they go out there and they take care of maintaining it and trying to get the trees cut, and it's just, there's a lot of issues going on. So basically what I'm going to suggest and what I'd like to do is if I can get some applicants in for the Cemetery Commission, is for the council to consider expanding the commission. And I just wanted to bring that up to
How many?
7?
to 7.
7.
Yeah. But that's asking for the city to come up with 3 people. The city of Eureka Springs, the citizens, to please come in and volunteer if you care about this city. Because the only way that they raise money is also through the selling of the plots. Yes, sir.
I'll go ahead and ask the question. Do we really need a cemetery commission, or could it have been run through Public Works? I'm just going to ask.
No, we need a cemetery.
Sorry.
We need a cemetery commission because they sell. It's actually selling real estate property. So they sell grave sites, and those are real estate property. Somebody keeps track of those to make sure that something's not sold that somebody's already buried in.
Public Works can't do that with all their resources and stuff. They can't.
It'd be a lot more administrative work. So, yeah. Well, so far we've never tried to do the Public Works. I can suggest that. I know. The Public Works already does a lot of maintenance out there.
Sure, I knew that. So.
Yeah, but
They maintain the moors, and they do a lot. They help them out.
They do.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
The hospital commission could do it.
But with our budget areas, I don't want to put any more restraint on our water and sewer and street department than.
Oh, right there with the water meters now, selling cemetery plots. Let's get going here.
Making more money.
The hospital commission.
Anyway, so that's I just want to bring the council up to that on there. So.
That's bad PR.
All right, thank you. Well, I'll take that into consideration.
It's hand in hand.
Get a motion to discuss the tram issue.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. We had Smitty, our director of transit for people out in TV land, came before on our budget workshop to talk about the purchase of an additional tram. I'm not sure if I have what I did with that piece of paper about the money. Basically, the tram is self-supporting through its ridership. That's what I'm needing. Thank you. For 2014, they received a gross income of approximately $103,000 from tram tours. Out of that, they paid a little over $35,000 to the group franchise people, but left a net of $68,000. As of 2015 in June, the revenues were up almost 20% from 2014. The riders on the tram is up 21.1%. They're averaging approximately 44 rides a day versus 32 rides a day in July. So the revenue and the rides are up about 24% for July. The number one attraction on TripAdvisor is our tram tours for Eureka Springs. It's very important. We've passed an ordinance, and I don't remember how many years ago, preventing buses, large buses, from traveling the streets of Eureka. And in place of that, we started the tram tours to allow people to see the city. So what Smitty is asking is for us to allow him to proceed to go out and solicit financing to purchase a new tram that is estimated to cost around $164,000. According to the figures that we have, he will be able to make the payments on that. I think what it's
900.
900.
Yeah,
36,000 a year.
36,000 a year out of the tram revenues. So I'm not sure if I've covered all the bases or not on that. Mr. McClung?
Well, my question, I guess, for Smitty, I mean, if he can pull this off with the banks, and I'm not sure what our powers are as far as financing, I mean, do we probably have to co-sign or somebody, I don't know how that works, Lonnie, you may know.
Come up here, Lonnie.
I think you'd have to pass a resolution allowing him to do that, and of course the city would have to be a co-signer. I mean, or the signer,
Right.
because it is for the city of Eureka Springs.
Does that, when the city does that and the mayor signs that, does he get to sign personally?
He is fortunate enough to be able to do that,
The
provided we can afford a pen for him that'll write.
Yeah. The thing I'm concerned with is, this is going to come up down the road. They're going to need another one, however many years it takes. I don't know what the life of this unit is, or what, based on what the life of the last one is. I suppose that would give us a pretty good indication. But I mean, they need to set aside for the future for that, as well as the 20% matching for the trolleys.
Well,
Is that not correct?
and I think he's taken that into consideration. And I will say that from department head meetings and so forth, they've put a new engine, and they've got one of the trams that's up in good shape. They got one that's, really bad. And so he's trying to get another one, and I'm sure it will kind of be like the trolleys in the future. And I don't really know what the life is, but of course there have been some issues back in the past because they had propane engines in them, or they used propane, and that didn't work out too well, and so they changed this one recently to a gasoline engine. And they're, of course, obviously but they're a specialty type vehicle that'll only go 10 or 15 miles an hour or something like that. But here in the hills, they have to have the power too. So anyway, he's kind of behind the 8 ball. He's got, I think, about 5 trailers or something like that, but he can only pull about 2 of them. So.
It'll be sometime. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He comes by the bed and breakfast with 3 trailers. That's the max I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I think totally the city has maybe about 5.
Yeah, they have enough to run too.
Yes, sir.
I was just going to point out, the bottom says the quote is valid for 30 days from the above date. The above date was 6/24/15. So I think he's under, unless he gets an extension on his quote.
He probably can do that, but of course, as he told you, they're custom built, so it takes about 5 or 6 months to get one.
It looks like 26 to 30 weeks out. So 6 months.
It'll be after the first of the year before it's.
It'll be next year before you get it in. Yes, sir.
Well, the only thing I'm concerned with is, he had the $20,000 to I believe that's what it was, the 20% for the tram, and he said he's going to have another one, that's for the trolley.
Trolleys.
And then another one, which he's got the money rat hold for the next one too, apparently.
But he can't mix the money because one is federal money on the trolleys. So the tram money is going to pay for the tram.
Right, but it also pays salaries and
Yes.
and everything else. So, I mean, I'm hoping that, if based on what that income stream is, that maybe if it's a 10-year life of the driver car, if he puts $10,000 a year or 5 or something, towards the next one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That I cover the.
And we have talked about that, and I think that's what he would like to do. Is
Well, I would think he would. So
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we do a resolution for it.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion? James?
I'll just say, with the history of this has probably been one of the most effective things that the city of Eureka Springs did. We were faced with overwhelming number of over-the-road buses coming down Spring Street, as many as 6 at a time, nose to tail. Caused a lot of dissent and discomfort in the community. We put up $500,000 to buy the first trams, and that allowed our visitors to see what the city's all about. And I'm excited that the revenue numbers are up like they are, and that the trams are still doing good. It's got to have been 15 years since we did this.
Oh, at least.
So these trams have lasted a long time. Because they're slow-moving vehicles, we're going to get a lot more out of these than you get out of a race car. So I think it's a great investment for the community. I think it's proven that it's paying off. It gives people a chance to see the city, and like TripAdvisor says, it's the #1 attraction in the community. So those are all significant things. So I think we're doing the right thing there.
Anybody else? We have a motion and second to drop a resolution. So, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
I want my papers back.
No. Okay.
Thank you.
That brings us to agenda setting. Joyce?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Mickey?
Nope.
David?
Nope.
James?
Not today.
Terry?
No, sir.
Nope. All right. Council comments. Joyce?
No, not today.
Mickey?
Yeah, the EUREKA, our annual triathlon type weekend, is coming up August 14, 15, and 16. Any volunteers, please let our new mayor's assistant, Miss Kim, let her know. We need all the volunteers we can get. Thank you. I said thank you.
Thank you.
Where'd she go? Did she run out of here?
Well, she forgot something. She'll be right back.
She ran out.
Nothing. Yeah.
Thank you.
No
Take
comment.
it to the bank quick.
Terry's got everything to say.
All right, Mr. McClung.
I do have two things. One is the fountain at the top of Plainer Hill. Did never find out anything about on it and why it doesn't operate.
Yeah, what happened to our water in there?
No.
Sorry.
That's one. And it may be I don't know if the bank is responsible for that or what, but I just was real curious again about that. And another is
And I
that
told you I'd check into it, and I forgot about
that's
it.
okay. I mean,
Yep.
I have the same problem quite often. I know that I had a request to say something about street repairs that were needed around the elementary school around that goes around on the side and back behind Forest Lane, back to the track area, and I've had since then some other people talk to me about the need of street repairs, and the city has gone out to Forest Lane and is doing some patching out there. I don't know, it's a cold patch. I went out and looked at the problem. I haven't been out to see what they're doing, but I know they are. I was told today that they are out there addressing those issues to some degree. But I know there's others, and I can recall back before that we used to have kind of a plan in place of streets that were going to be done this year, streets that would be done next year, and I don't know if that exists anymore, but it would be great if we could kind of initiate that again and get back on track. And I know there's repairs that have to be made because of lines that are put in and changes that are made, but going in and doing an overall resurfacing as based on a plan.
Yeah, I agree, and I remember exactly what you're talking about, and that's something I've been wanting to get Dwayne to put together so we can come before the council again possibly for our budget, so everybody will know exactly what's going to go on. Because right now it's almost, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. It's
Sure.
what areas needing the help, and so that's kind of where they're going on there.
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Before you, okay, go ahead. No, never mind.
Nothing from me.
All right. Special events. I don't really have any comments per se on this. We do have August 7th to 8th is Diversity Weekend, 11 to 4 in the Basin Park. August 8th, we got drumming in the park from 5:30 to 8. August 14th through the 16th, we got the EUREKA downtown. And one of my favorite festivals that's coming up, the 12th through the 16th, the Bluegrass Festival. This is going to be going all the way through town with music in the park and other venues all the way around. And then August 15th is the second Saturday music in the park. And that's all I have. Motion to adjourn? Second?
Yeah, second.
Anybody in favor?
Yeah.
All right. Terry, when you were talking, did you say the light, was that the light pole?